Hello, welcome to another briefing. So in this briefing, I'm going to start out per usual with the satellite image. And what we're observing here, if we just take a snapshot of the large-scale pattern across the western US, so we see the jet stream doing something like this, which shows us there is a trough of low pressure, cooler air, moving down from the Gulf of Alaska. It's not super cold air. This is July after all, but um, some cooler air, more clouds for the Pacific Northwest today. And then down south, we have this big dome of high pressure centered over the Four Corners region. Really warm, really dry for a lot of areas, although there is enough moisture wrapping around this high that there will likely be afternoon thunderstorms in a lot of areas of the desert southwest and the Intermountain West. Dry morning, stormy afternoon, hit or miss storms. These are pop up, very strong but very isolated type thunderstorms that tend to develop in the afternoon over these regions when you have a moist flow around the west side of the high pressure dome here, and you can see these winds blowing out of the southwest right here, and that is going to bring moisture from parts of the Gulf of California and the Gulf of Mexico back out of frame over here, and that's going to facilitate an environment where you can have those afternoon convective showers, um, and storms at that. So, and then otherwise, if you look closer into California and the Bay Area, you have some clouds trying to make their way back to the northwestern coast here, but you have a mostly wiped out marine layer. We are seeing pretty predominantly northwest winds at the surface here, and so that's bringing some marine air for most coastal locations. It's keeping it from getting super hot, but it is a drier flow. It moves down some of this terrain here, and it mixes down air that's a little drier into the inversion layer, and that wipes out the fog. As you can see here, the fog is being clearly wiped out by these winds. I can zoom in a little bit here to the Bay Area and see only patches of fog developed in the last few hours. Like, this is around sunrise. You can see very scattered patches of fog. The fog wasn't really able to really fully redevelop overnight because of those northwest winds. And here you go. You can see, if you look off the coast here, look at those northwest winds. It's 8:43 in the morning and already gusting 25 at Tip of Point Reyes, already gusting close to 20 out by the Farallon Islands. So, those winds are going pretty good out there, and it's chilly, but it's relatively dry. That it's the um, marine clouds are having a hard time reforming. That's why there's no fog out there today. And if you go here, sorry, that's just a discussion. If you look at the Mount Tamalpais camera, look at the last hour here. You see there's a patch of stratus clouds trying to redevelop over like the Richmond, but it's really not materializing a lot. It's not spreading, it's not going into the Golden Gate because of those dry winds. So you can picture those dry winds doing something like this because they're coming down here. And they mix down dry air. They move over these hills here, and they mix drier air down from the from above the surface. It's the lower troposphere, but it's above the surface. And then you have the clouds are unable to really spread here because of these drier winds moving down the coastline. Now, this is the European model. This is initialized just around. This is last night actually at 5 p.m. because we don't have the newest full run yet. But this is showing you basically the pattern that we were noticing on satellite earlier. There's this trough of low pressure. See, center of the low is right here, and you have a trough around it. So there's the cooler air moving into the Pacific Northwest. And then over the four corners, you have a big high pressure dome. Hot, very hot across much of the southwest. Some afternoon thunderstorms. You have the moisture wrapping around there. And then let's put this projection into motion now. And you'll see what is projected to happen per this computer model. You see, we get some of that troughing into the weekend. Stays relatively cool for Northern California. The ridge maybe tries to back off a little bit, and that would make it a little bit cooler. But then look at that, it builds right back in with a vengeance. Could be some big heat as we go into late next week. Take it with a grain of salt. It's a computer model projection about 5 days out at this point, but we'll definitely keep an eye on that because that's a potential for some pretty big heat as we go into late next week and to early and then the week after that, Pacific Northwest could be under the gun for that as well. So definitely keep an eye. And then if we go ahead here, the projected temperatures for the Bay Area. You know what? I'm gonna start with the Bay Area, and I'll zoom out a little bit so everyone gets kind of an idea of their region too. But let's do the Bay Area. So this is the National Weather Service high temperature output forecast for the next few days. Here's Saturday. You're looking at mostly 60s along the immediate coastline, bays, and slightly inland locations around the 70s, lower 80s, and then you go into the Central Valley and you're looking at lower 90s. So this is pretty seasonable for this time of year. It's a little warmer than usual in places like Southern Marin, where you have a northwest flow and you're getting sort of shadowed from that sea breeze, so you do heat up quite a bit. You can get into the 80s, where usually it's only around 70, like in the Mill Valley region, because you're getting less of the marine influence, because you're getting more of a northwest flow rather than a west flow or a southwest flow. Then we go into Sunday and Monday, Tuesday. It starts to warm up a little bit more for some areas, especially inland. And then you go into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Second half of that week, you're looking at Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You're starting to look at it warming up more. Could be around 100 for areas like Sacramento. Most of Marin County, 80s, 90s inland. You're looking at probably only 60s to low 70s at the coast if enough onshore flow remains. But we'll have to keep an eye on that because if the wind switches, this could be very different. And Baysides, we're looking mostly upper 70s, low 80s. So not record-breaking hot, but pretty warm. Pretty warm as we go into the end of next week there. So definitely something to watch. Taking a wider look at things, we're seeing here mostly 70s in the Pacific Northwest for places like Seattle, Portland. Some milder air there associated with that trough off the coastline. In Willamette Valley, you're seeing 70s. On the coast, you're seeing even low 60s, really. And then further inland, eastern Washington, eastern Oregon, you do get into the 90s, maybe upper 90s if you're really far inland. But you're generally cooler under this trough, at least for the western part of these states. some pretty big heat still in the Boise area, the Twin Falls area. You could be approaching 100. Um, Up in the mountains around Sun Valley, probably around 90, maybe low 90s today. It's pretty warm for them. My grandmother and her husband live up there, so um, it's gonna be a warm day there. Unfortunately, thankfully, it's not record-breaking hot though. Um, and then look at the Southern California deserts. Look at some areas approaching 120 degrees. Palm Springs area well into the 110s again today. It'll be a pretty hot day. I mean, you're looking at some areas here, even into Utah. The lower elevations are well into the 100s here. You're looking at 100s in parts of Montana as well. Really, really warm air across the west in general here today, across the western United States. So, yeah, that's all I have for today. I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you got something out of it, and I'll see you next time.